Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft are all moving ahead at a great speed in improving this artificial intelligence software. So it's very exciting. Software is going to solve that, where it'll look at all the new information and present to you, knowing about your interests, what would be most valuable. So making us more efficient.
We're focusing on what we've talked about on autonomous systems. And we sort of see it as the mother of all AI projects. So autonomy is something that's incredibly exciting for us. We'll see where it takes us.
It is seeping into our lives in all sorts of ways that we just don't notice. We're just getting better and better at it, and we're seeing that happen in every aspect of our lives, from medicine to transportation to how electricity is distributed. And it promises to create a vastly more productive and efficient economy. And if properly harnessed, can generate enormous prosperity for people, opportunity for people, can cure diseases that we haven't seen before, can make us safer because it eliminates inherent human error in a lot of
NHTSA did a study on Tesla's Autopilot version 1, which is relatively primitive, and found that it was a 45% reduction in highway accidents. And that's despite Autopilot 1 being just version 1. Version 2, I think, will be at least 2 or 3 times better. That's the current version that's running right now. So the rate of improvement is really dramatic. We have to figure out some way to ensure that the advent of digital superintelligence is one which is symbiotic with humanity.
AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. Now, I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. And anytime you work with technology, you need to learn to harness the benefits and while minimizing the downsides. Stepping back, when you think about a lot of problems in the world today, it's because we typically have a constraint on resources. AI, for the first time, I think over time, offers a different construct. Things which are constrained and look like a zero-sum game today may not be so in the future. Take education, for example. It's really difficult to educate people in a cost-effective way. AI may fundamentally change that equation. It may make it possible for us to have clean, cheap, renewable energy for the future. So I think a lot of things will play out in more positive ways than people think.
The idea that there's going to be a general AI overlord that subjugates us or kills us all, I think is not something to worry about. I think that is overhyped. First of all, we don't know, we're nowhere close to knowing how to build a general AI, something that could set its own objectives. But second of all, I think it's unlikely that such a thing's first instincts would be to exterminate us. So I'm optimistic about that one, and certainly don't think we need to worry about it today.
Some economists say the world is entering a second machine age. Artificial intelligence and other advancements enabling robots to do tasks that until now only human eyes, minds, and hands could handle. Where robots are making robots.
Well, they're making love to these robots. Keep making babies.
Yes, right.
To see how they're changing manufacturing and whether they're sealing the fate of low-skill workers.
We used to have to really painstakingly teach the machines step by step, program them what to do, and now machine learning is enabling the machines to figure out on their own how to solve problems. You put together the algorithms, the data, and the computer chips, and you get sometimes a million-fold improvement in the performance of these systems.
A million-fold improvement?
Yeah.
And what does that allow you to do?
So one really important thing to do on the factory floor is just be able to recognize objects, and that's something that only humans could do well until recently.
Chinese delivery company JD is showing how automation is advancing in other industries, like logistics. There are still some employees here, but not at a JD sorting center near Shanghai. It's taking nearly all humans out of this process. And this is the same company that last year began making drone deliveries. The automation revolution is beginning to come into fashion. The clothing industry is among the latest economic sectors to be making the leap, which is ironic because it was among the first to be mechanized. Today, they still require skilled human hands to guide and handle the materials. We're looking at what these new cutting-edge technologies can do and the impact they're beginning to have on the developing world. Will bring garment production back to America. By the end of 2018, it plans to open a factory in Arkansas capable of cranking out over 1 million t-shirts a year. At prices the company says are on par with the lowest wage countries